Pas du tout. C'est violence.
Mais quel est le député qui vient de prononcer cette phrase? Pardon? Je fais une suspension de séance de 5 minutes.
Les personnes secourues se trouvent dans une situation d'urgence absolue. Les prévisions météo indiquent une détérioration significative du climat. Pas du tout. C'est violence.
Mais quel est le député qui vient de prononcer cette phrase? Pardon?
Okay, so welcome to the Reason Show. This is your first time watching my show. I call it The Reason because I want to reason with my young Africans, and my name is Odesheba. This is a reality happening right here in France countries, and then this French colonial gangsters. So right here, welcome to the YouTube live streaming. This is a Reason Show. We are here to reason as young Africans. There are a lot of things that these people have hidden from us, and also a long time we keep following their narrative and how their media cabals represents the continent. So right here, I'm here also to show you an explicit detailed information from the Italian Prime Minister, and I want you to listen to it. Pay attention. Why are they asking these questions? What is exactly going on? 1 second. Right. So what is exactly going on? Why nowadays most of European presidents or governments are speaking this way? Is it all because they really don't know? They are really seeing the effect of how the Africans are rising up. And representing live from the West Coast, I'm going to show you a video that will shock you, what Italian Prime Minister was saying about Africa. And you must be more concerned about Africa. And before that, just watch our France Parliament, where they continuously, deliberately attacking the Africans who are still the France citizens and being represented by the people as members of Parliament. Listen, and we will show you why the British or the Italian Prime Minister bringing out this expose against his own European government. Now listen to this. This is a France Parliament. I will tell you about something. Just listen to this. Listen to this.
Les personnes secourues se trouvent dans une situation d'urgence absolue. Les prévisions météo indiquent une détérioration significative du climat. Pas du tout. C'est violence.
Mais quel est le député qui vient de prononcer cette phrase? Pardon? Je fais une suspension de séance de 5 minutes.
Les personnes secourues se trouvent dans une situation d'urgence absolue. Les prévisions météo indiquent une détérioration significative du climat. Pas du tout. C'est violence.
Mais quel est le député qui vient de prononcer cette phrase? Pardon?
Right. So this is France Parliament, where in fact okay. Right. So this is France Parliament, and this is how they treat their own citizens who are African descent, who are the so-called black people. And this is how it works in France. And even if you are a member of Parliament serving the people of France, they still believe you need to go to Africa. You are still under us, and they continuously exposing themselves when it comes to racism, pandemic or epidemic in their genes. So today, I'm going to show you something. Stay here. This is the first time. If this is your first time watching me, we are here to talk about Africa, and I'm more interested about what the narrative that the media said to us, and what they've taught us in school. And we always continuously saying that we need to have extra education out of what the British left to the African people, or the Francophone, or the whatever Cophone left to the African continent. Now, Italian Prime Minister have exposed the West, and this is a critical. And as you being African, wherever you find yourself, whether in Europe, America, Canada, whatever, how do you concern about issues in Africa? And in one thing in life, if you want to solve any problem, you must firstly cite it or identify or ID the problem before you can solve it. Now, the case here has been like the African politicians does not even know exactly where their problems are coming from, and yet they want to solve it. That is why it becomes every time we fight a wrong battle. But for me, I take a different exception and different approach. We always have to find what is the reason why the African is behaving this way. This is how we will understand the situations, whether the IMF deal, that the World Bank deal, the United Nations, global institutions structure. You need to understand who is here talking about who and what exactly as African people are looking for. Now, wait here, share the page, subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is the Reason Show. I'm here to reason with my people. If you are first time watching me, we are here to reason, not to argue. If you have any different congestion or a narrative or analysis, you can just drop it to the comment section and I will read it for you. Welcome to the Reason Show. Now, let's move on from the France Parliament and then move on to the Italian Prime Minister. But you have to keep in mind what is going on in Africa. Everyone is concerned. Maybe it's only the African who does not concern about the reason why they are behaving this way. That is why sometimes when you tell the young Africans to pay attention to what is going on these Western countries, most of them just want to be Photoshop guys. They don't want to show the beauty side of the European or the American. No, you have a problem. As an African, you have a problem. The reason why you have a problem is the problem that is affecting you. You are not interested to watch it and to understand the issues. Now, they are telling us, listen, I am not making this story. This is from them to us. And if you're an African, you must pay attention. You have the courage to talk about poor governance, corruption in Africa. Fair, that's good, fair enough. But hey, I am telling you something that your politicians does not understand. And the puppet issue that everybody is talking about, something is bigger than that. Somebody is interested not for you to move on. Now, the reason why I also speak in English is I want most of the African people to understand me. That is it. And I've always continuously saying this. It is not my wish to speak English, and I don't like it. But because for other people to listen to me, just listen to what I'm saying. Pay attention. Watch the message, not the messenger. Here is the Reason Show. Now, watch Italian Prime Minister. She has exposed the West ideology, the West exploitation in Africa. That is why France and the Western countries are shaking when it comes to Niger and Mali coup d'etat. But we will talk about it. Why are they interested? Why are they pushing ECOWAS to go and attack their own country? Why? It tells you there's something wrong. Now watch this. This is Italian Prime Minister, not me. I didn't make this story. Now watch it. Pay attention. Listen to her words and listen to her demeanor. It will tell you. And this interview was done in Britain, America. That's Fox News. Now listen carefully. I'll be back.
First of all, Africa is not a poor continent. It's not. It is a continent that has many, many resources. Moreover, rare earth, metals, raw materials, 50% of arable lands. We're not taking care of that. And Africa today is victim of many external spoilers that work against its stability. It is something that can be used against us.
And with regard to Africa, the issue of China comes up.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you about that. Is China dominating?
Now, if you are a person that you don't understand media mind games, now watch here. So you see this woman sitting there that's calling herself as a journalist in America, Fox News. You see where she doesn't want the prime minister to push on to describe the Africa or the characteristics or the importance of Africa. Now, quickly, she jumped in. Now, pay attention here. I've been a journalist for so many years and I know what they do. Listen, You see, this woman sitting down there, watch her face well. You see, watch her demeanor. This Fox News presenter, watch her demeanor. Quickly, she pushed on to cut the Italian Prime Minister from moving on to expose the capabilities of Africa, because the media and across the globe have set a narrative that Africa is poor. Now, as their own Prime Minister in Europe, hitting back to them that Africa is not poor. Listen, she's uncomfortable. This woman sitting down there is uncomfortable. She doesn't like that. She don't want anyone to tell the good side of Africa. So quickly, she's swinging to change the narrative now, to switch the conversation to China dominating Africa. If you're a young African, see, you need to understand the mind games of these media cabals, whether CNN, BBC, the Chinese CGTN, the Indian, all the news anchors around the world. They have been taught the way to handle African issues, whether you like it or not, because we call it geopolitics. And in geopolitics, media is a big deal, and that's why it's a big tool for the West to use it to set a narrative. Now, watch here. You see that they just check the demeanor of this television presenter in America. She's uncomfortable to hear her own European exposing them that Africa is not poor. You watch it. You see, so quickly in the media strategy, she have to change the conversation to suit another interest. Now, she's going to move the Prime Minister to target Chinese in Africa. Here's the reason. So we are reason. Now, watch here. Watch here. I just want you to pay attention. Now, she's going to change the narrative again. Hit back.
Trying to dominate the continent and scooping up some of those raw materials and metals that you mentioned that are so critical to technology.
Absolutely, China has an important presence at the time in Africa. And, well, I think it's normal that everyone tries to defend its national interests. The problem is if we are able to do that. I mean, what I don't really agree with is the approach that sometimes the West world had with these countries. For the idea I have is that we are always ready to give advices, but not so ready to give a hand. They don't trust us a lot. And I cannot say that they are completely wrong. That's why my opinion is that we have to change this approach. What I want to do is to bring investments in Africa. Bring investments not only to say we want to help.
Okay, so you see, this Prime Minister knows something more than even the African politician. Now, you see, quickly, she also pushed back the discussion about Africa. She doesn't want to even follow the journalist questions. You see, this Prime Minister here knows something that, I can say she has realized the mistakes that they are doing, and she automatically or definitely know that if they continuously going this way, they are going to create enemy in the near future or the decade that coming. They are young people, or the descendants of the Europeans, who are going to suffer a lot, because now each and every day they are creating enemies for themselves. So quickly, she still head back again to make sure the discussion, the conversation about Africa must go on. But you see, this journalist does not want the Prime Minister of Italy to move on any discussion to expose the Europeans and any country that they are interested in Africa. So if you are watching me, pay attention. You see, these Europeans are not sleeping. They are very strategic, especially the media. They are using the media to set a narrative. Because, for example, whenever you hear any country in Africa, first thing is about negativity. Like, for example, when you hear Somalia, Somalia's a war, it's a war country, war zone. Burundi, war. But hey, there's a beauty side of Somalia which you have no idea. There's a beauty side of Burundi which you have no idea. There's a beauty side of Niger which you have no idea, and yet they are dominating and exploiting. That is why they don't want you to go. So in order for you to feel bad for your own people, quickly they need to take you down. They need to speak down upon you so that you will be interested. That is why the whole continent, the whole globe, everyone uses negative to describe you as African, you and your continent. Do you think it's just by choices or by chance? It is a strategic plan. Now, this Prime Minister here, or Italian Prime Minister, knows something that she knows that there's something better that we need to discuss. Because if we as Europeans want to move on with these Africans again, then we must change our approach. because they have this lady here, this woman sitting down there, knows the history behind Italian invasion, Italian bully, Italian exploitation in Africa. She knows, and quickly she knows that France is taking a move that will always create problem for Europeans. That is why she's so concerned to expose them. Now she knows that Chinese and Russians are taking a different approach, and yet they need to go the Chinese or Russian way. So you see, this is the reason. So, and I'm giving you the reason why you should pay attention to the media. You should pay attention to the Western media, because it is orchestrated attention. It's intentionally, they've created a narrative so that you will not feel good in Africa. You will not feel good, always speaking ill about your country. Meanwhile, you are not considered in their country. You are just something trash to them. For example, I show you a video in France Parliament where an MP was talking, and what did they say? Tell them, they say, "Go back to your country, Mr. Monkey." Listen, you got to pay attention. And sometimes I don't care about what they tell me. It's good that we all travel around to see what is going on. That is why I am interested to show you this. Now, this Prime Minister of Italy is going to move the discussion to another way, but as usual, the American journalists won't allow it. And now watch it again. Now see.
No, that's not geopolitics. If you want to do serious things, you have to do things that are useful for both. For example, now we have a problem in Europe about energy sources after the war, but Africa is potentially an enormous producer of energy, of every kind of energy: green energy, hydrogen, geothermic, they've got gas, they've got everything. So if we help them taking out and producing this energy, and we tie them with Europe, we will solve many problems together. First of all, Africa is not a poor.
Right. So now, so you see the demeanor and the face of this American journalist, because she's uncomfortable. They don't want to hear anything. They don't want anyone to, in fact, they don't want to allow any of their people to talk about Africa when it comes to their interest. And this is a fact. And in a country that we know, almighty America, they said America interest is first. They don't care about what you think or what you want. No, that is why they have the media. It's a big tool to change the narrative, to confuse you, to discuss something that is not important to you. Set a narrative, sponsor, they protect all the social media to push a bad narrative for the young people of Africa to become so dumb. They push the educational talks, they push symposiums, business tycoons or business, whatever guys you can call them. Go to Africa, organize or symposiums or conferences to change the narrative, change their mindset. Let them, do not allow them to be with themselves so that they can't know what exactly we are doing. This is the game. And the game plan is continuously working for them. And today, when you hear this Italian Prime Minister saying that she cannot and would never say Africa is poor, because the approach of European governments in Africa is getting worse to them, and they are going worse and worse, because how the Chinese are coming is different from the Europe. Fair enough. This is the reason. So what do you say about this? It tells you you must pay attention. And when you hear there's a coup in Niger, it doesn't surprise me. There's a coup in Mali, it doesn't surprise me. There's a coup in Nigeria, whatever, Boko Haram. These are all planned. It's a plan. Now, for you as a young African to hear that, oh, ECOWAS is going to destroy whatever country. No, listen. ECOWAS cannot rule by itself. Listen. ECOWAS always represents somebody. Now, listen carefully. ECOWAS is a group of government, and this same ECOWAS is being sponsored by the same enemy. This is a critical that you as a young African, you need to understand. The same ECOWAS that you are talking about, that you think they are a representation of African continent or the West African Economic Community, the so-called economy, the so-called economy is being sponsored by the same gangsters. So what do you think? What do you want the ECOWAS to do? They are just a representation of their puppet masters. They are like their group of puppets coming together, and they don't have absolute control when it comes to decision making, because this ECOWAS cannot make a decision whilst their masters not approved. For example, if you go to all these Francophone countries and if you're a French person, you see, these are all identity missing. You call it French Francophone, Anglophone. It tells you there's a represent in your mind. You are not even, you are not with yourself because you call yourself Francophone. This is a reason. So we are reasoning. And you can check all of them. Every country in French colonial territories have to sign a document putting their own heritage funds or whatever fund that you call it to in British government banks, so that the British will determine what you have to use your money for. And coming back to the Commonwealth countries from the British, you see, all these British colonies in one basket called Commonwealth. You are common, you don't wet. Listen to the English, because with the thing we don't reason it. Commonwealth. So you don't even wet. You are just a common person, and we have to subvert your power, or you have to subvert your power to us as a British monarchy. So we can give you a basket that we can put you in. So no wonder when British monarchy doing their whatever in London, UK, they package all these Commonwealth leaders in one bus. It doesn't surprise me at all. And they package them into one box because you are in one basket Commonwealth. And they put all of them in basket and they push them like chicken, like dogs into one place, where all these even Southern or Latin Americans they are coming their own way as a representative of their countries. But this is a fact that until you watching me, or you wherever you see this video, starting to change your mind about Europe, change your mind, understanding who is European, there's no way you can win the battle. You see, people just talk about, no, see, you can't win the battle unless you have understood who you are dealing with. You can't just sit in America, sit in Canada, and then you be proud that you live in abroad. Be proud of how I live in this, I live in that. And he's still talking about trash, talking bullshit about Africa to develop this, Africa. Who told you? Do you own your economy? Who told you? Do you train your political leaders? Is you that train them? And do you think they are there to defend you? Never. And no country, no country have developed where they always listen to their masters before they develop. No country. And even in real life, if you want to move away from where the masters are going, the wrong direction, you must take a risk. How many African countries want to take a risk by not joining all these cruise organizations? How many countries? When China want to defy the world odds, you can check the history. When China want to create their own food, you can check the history. What happened to them? They say, no, we are going to the Chinese way. We eat Chinese, we talk Chinese, we wear Chinese, and we produce Chinese. Whether you like it or not, we are going Chinese way. And for today, what is the result? They have dominated the world. In fact, if you want to go on your own way, take a risk to develop your country, you must change us. You should not follow rules. Rules are for followers. And what happened to us? We always follow rules set by the same target enemies. They set the rules for us and we follow. And yet instead we want to develop. Who told you? Like I'm a leader and I don't want you to prosper. Do you think I will set the rules for you to rise and bypass me? Common sense will tell you. Do you think I will set the rules which will let you to liberate yourself so that I can get absolute control on you? Never. So you see, they are very smart. They are very smart than us. We don't look sharp. We are not smart. We only represent how they want us to represent. And when you see Europeans coming out to say this and that, in fact, they are not playing. They are not joking. They mean business. And this woman, as the Prime Minister of Italy, understands the game. That is why, even in America TV, she can come on TV to tell them that, hey, our approach is creating trouble for us. And if we don't change the approach, there's no way the African will trust us. And this is the reality. You know why? The young ones coming up right in Africa now, there's an agenda to push them to follow the suit of this old archaic leadership that they represent them. So what do? They will organize all programs, set aside to, confuse the Africans so that you won't pay attention to your continent. And what do? You pay attention to how they want you to behave. By what means? Social media is one target. It's a big tool. They use the social media to pay people as traitors from Africa, always hating back, destroying, creating unnecessary attentions and war so that you forget yourself. That's why anytime I say be careful on social media. If you really have Africa in at heart, don't ever follow every foolishness on social media, because there's something that those who created social media have in a secret. They have in it, and they decide what they should push for you. And whenever you challenge them, you become the target. Last time I challenged the TikTok. TikTok is trying to always pushing foolishness. They push nonsense. And when you challenge them, they hit back, they come, apologize, we are sorry. It's a strategic way to confuse you, to confuse you. They want to destabilize the way you want to think. I have a certain videos that I always push, and when I push, they take it down, and I challenge them, they bring the video back, and then they use a strategy community guideline to shut you down. This is a strategy, because what they want you to do as an African, young African is, you are just a comic relief person. What you can do is to do entertainment, concert, joking. That's what you can do. You don't want to talk about sensitive things. No, as an African, we don't expect you to talk about sensitive things. We expect you to be as a comic reliever, joking. The women of Africa will just shaking your butt, shaking your backs, and shaking your body, and you give you more views. Will help you to get more views. And then you get you some little money, which you can't even use to create wealth. You are not part of wealth creators. You can stay on social media and make all the jokes and concerts and make money. But still, you don't own anything. This is the reality. Check, give me the result. How many people own anything? You don't own anything in Africa. We don't own. We just consumers, beggars. Even if we are famous, we own nothing. We don't even call a shot. We don't own these industries. We don't own companies. We don't own factories, manufacturing company. We don't own it. So you see the problem? So this is where you need to understand the game. And when European leaders start to talk this way, this is where you will understand as a young Africans that, okay, then you need to organize yourself well. Because in the battlefield, the soldiers always are organized in the troops, in the battalion. You see how it works? So until we, the young people of Africa, started to change the way we think from how they taught us in school, we are going to be the same as our leaders that you are talking against them today, and you can never solve any problem. You can never do anything. You will be the same where you are till you die, period. This is the reason, so we are here to reason. I'm giving you the reason why you should understand European. Because consistently, I've been moving around the world. Consistently in any country that they hate Africans, they keep on teaching their case about Africa. Ask yourself why. Why, if you go to Europe, they still teach them about Africa is a diseased continent? Are you sure? Are you sick now? Ask me. Are you sick? Comparing Europeans who are sick, comparing America who have more diseases. Do your media sit in Ghana to tell the sickness of our Europeans? No. But ask yourself, why is it that up to now, I have young kids, up to now, they go to school, they go to hospitals in America or Europe, they still tell them, if you want to go to Africa, you have to take a boosting shot, you have to take virus shot, you have to take this shot, because that continent is a disease continent. Are you following me? Do I make sense here? Do you listen to me? Are you sharing the page? Like the page. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a lot to say, because we are not doing what they are doing. We are telling you the reality. So last time somebody called me from New York, and he said he want to go to Africa, and the doctor told him that before you go to Africa, you need to take a shot. And this is a reality in Africa. If you go to any embassy, they will tell you to go and do medical because you are a sick person. When they are coming there, you don't even tell them to do medical, because even in there, it is against that you want to push to see somebody's health status. It's against the law. Even in America, it's against the law to see somebody's privacy when it comes to health issues. But yet, everybody want to know your health status. It doesn't say something to you? So, These are the critical things that they don't expect you, the African, the poor African, to discuss this, because it has been created long time that let us remain the same. Let them remain the same. And the truth is, until we move away from how they want us to behave, in fact, we are not going anywhere, and you can't win any battle. You see, you can use your emotions to see. You can't win anything, because the structures are already put in place, and until you go and expose the structures or defy the structure, you are just joking. Because when these Europeans came to Africa back in history, when they want to defy the rules and the unity of the African people, that word even Africa have problem with that name. The people living in that continent, they have to, take down any structure, belief structure, or any union structure, so that they can impede, they can invade with their policies and programs, which they have succeeded. So if you want to win in politically, religiously, socially, there's no way you shouldn't understand who is European. Do you know what they think? And that's a fact. Even a Ghanaian can call you and tell you, my kids don't want to go to Africa because what they have been taught in school prevent them to even tell me they want to go to Africa, because they fear when they go, they will get sick, they'll get kidnapped. But please, you live in Africa, have you been kidnapped? Have you get shot? No. So when somebody have these intentions to continuously feed in the minds of his or her generation, and you said it's normal, so you got to sit down there, allow them, and still you want to defeat them, you want to win, you want to stay away from Europeans. This is the kind of education that you need. It's emancipation school that we want to go. You cannot go to the school that they are telling you to look down upon yourself and still want to challenge them. You are just a joker. You are just a joker. You cannot win until you have emancipated yourself from mental slavery, which they continuously destroying the African to their young generation. And you think they are joking? They are not joking at all, because you are the food basket and you are just a spare tire. So if you will allow you to go, you are in trouble. And go to Philippines, they will tell you, what do you think of Africa? They are poor. They are terrible. Go to China. What do you think about Africa? Oh, they are poor. They don't have water. They are hungry people. Go to America. What do you think of Africa? Oh, they don't get food to eat. They are poor people. They live in streets. Go to Europe, any country, what do you think of Africa? Oh, I heard they are poor people. They are hungry people. They don't have food to eat. They are corrupt. They are this. They are gangsters. My goodness. So do you think they are playing? So ask yourself, who did this? Now who caused some? Now who caused some? So is it by chance that somebody will just meet you and ask you, oh, I heard Africa, you are poor, you are corrupt, you are low IQ. Do you think it's by chance? Somebody did that. Until you started to talk about how you can unite, you need to let your case understand who is European. Who are these people? They don't like you. They pretend, they use your foolish idiot puppet to represent them like they want something better from you. They have nothing, better good intention for you. That is why anytime you see the so-called African schooling too much in these European schools, that person become very dangerous. And they know how they train you. It's just a book. Because when you feed somebody's idea with a book, that person is the same as the master. Now, I have this book here. It's what? Resilient. It's by Kwabena Obendako. So, African culture, freedom, politics, and business. So, if I get a child and if I want to feed that person with this ideology, invented or written by a Ghanaian who believe where he's from, do you think that person will grow up and behave like European? Never. If I feed that person's brain with this book, written by Kwabena Obendako, Resilience, my goodness, the child will behave the same as what the books want the child to behave. And this is the author. This is the reason. So we are here to reason, and you can drop your comments, share the page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we are here to reason. We have moved around the world. We have a lot of information, but we know how to fight. Don't fight the wrong battle as young people. See, you need to take it easy, because you can win with your emotions. You need to be educated about the people that you are dealing with. The media. Now check, one continent, every media house, every media gangster, political media establishment is in that continent. And do you think they are playing there? They know how to separate the people, divide the road taxes. So BBC will have its own portion. Now they have moved it to extent. Now the BBC have created a full platform for the Nigerian pidgin. You know why? You know the reason? They just want to understand the typical Nigerians who speak broken English, because they need to understand the black man. Example, I have friends in America. Sometimes when you talk and you meet a Ghanaian or any country person that you can speak different language, and you start to speak different language, they get worried. Have you asked yourself why? They get worried. Hey, is this guy planning to against us? What language is that guy speaking? I've been hearing that a lot. Unless maybe you don't want to tell the truth. It's the same thing everywhere. I know everywhere. So this issue, it has made most Africans are so weak and they're so fearful when they can't even express themselves in their own language because they fear. But when you see the Spanish, the Jews, or whatever, they are bold to speak their language. And I give credit to Ethiopians. Anywhere you meet Ethiopian, they speak their language. They don't care who's standing behind them. But most of the West Africa, especially Nigeria and Ghanaians, that is why I always tell you, the major problem after slavery, those who have get more brain damage with this slavery from British are Ghanaians and Nigerians. And they are the problem of West Africa. They are problem of Africa. Ghana, Nigeria are problem. Because most of them are embedded, they are dumb, they are drunk. They have drunk in the blood of these slave masters. So they are quick to defend foolishness. They are quick to tell you about other countries. But they are quick also to speak ill about their continent or where they are from. But when they live there 60 years, 70 years, and they got weak, they got depressed, they got brain damage, now they tell them, take me home, home sweet home. And this is the double standard, the foolishness of the pure African. The double standard of a pure African living in the diaspora. That's the stupidness they do every day. So I'm talking about this. When they want to understand you, they want to make sure they can understand what I'm saying. But because I don't fear them, that's why I'm speaking English to them. They know what I'm talking about. They always want to understand you. That is why they always have to set in institutions. BBC have to be financed by the state broadcaster to create the whole platform, Nigerian pidgin, so that they can understand the local language, the local English that the Nigerian created by themselves called broken English or whatever. Do you think they are playing? And now go check them. They track them. I go always monitoring their interviews, the involvement. They're getting involved. The local people. Do you think they are joking? And now they are bringing the same to Ghana. They are creating a certain languages. They are finances or media guys to start creating the same pidgin for the pure, typical Ghanaian to understand each other. And it's going to work. And you think slavery is over. It's not over until it's over. This is the reason show. So you have to start to understand who is European. Understanding them. When the European from Italy is telling you that the approach of Europeans are making it worse for them, then it tells you something. There's something there. That is why they have packaged our minds so that we will all run away from the continent. We all run away to shift the discussion. Do not get engaged with them with the sensitive matters. Let them discuss entertainment, comedy, wedding, marriage. Let them discuss traveling. Let them discuss that. But when it comes to the politics that controls the whole globe, controls the financial sector, control the global institutions, don't allow them to understand the game. So go to school, get a college degree, come. The government will give you a job. At the end of the day, you come to cry. This is the reason show. And if you want to rule, you must own. If you don't own, you can't rule. This is the fact. And nobody will tell you this. And one more time, I'm going to show you a video. And that video also another expose. Now listen to this Italian Prime Minister exposing the West again. One more time.
First of all, Africa is not a poor continent. It's not. It is a continent that has many, many resources. Moreover, rare earth, metals, raw materials, 50%. 10% of arable lands. We're not taking care of that. And Africa today is victim of many external spoilers that work against its stability. It is something that can be used against us.
And with regard to Africa, the issue of China comes up.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you about that. Is China dominating or trying to dominate the continent and scooping up some of those raw materials and metals that you mentioned that are so critical to technology?
Absolutely, China has an important presence at the time in Africa. And well, I think it's normal that everyone tries to defend its national interests. The problem is if we are able to do that. I mean, what I don't really agree with is the approach that sometimes the West world had with these countries. For the idea I have is that we are always ready to give advices, but not so ready to give a hand. They don't trust us a lot. And I cannot say that they are completely wrong. That's why my opinion is that we have to change this approach. What I want to do is to bring investments in Africa. Bring investments not only to say we want to help. No, that's not geopolitics. If you want to do serious things, you have to do things that are useful for both. For example, now we have a problem in Europe about energy sources after the war. But Africa is potentially an enormous producer of energy, of every kind of energy, green energy, hydrogen, geothermic, they've got gas, they've got everything. So if we help them taking out and producing this energy, and we tie them with Europe, we will solve many problems together. First of all, Africa is not a poor.
Okay, so that was Italian Prime Minister Meloni, and they will say the message from the horses to its own mouth, and we are not making this story. And it's a quite education, and it's important to us if you really want to discuss any matters around the African globe and African continent. So this woman is saying is word to me, and I'm interested about that. And I just don't want to do what everyone is doing, because when we tell them, they say we are lying. We are creating theories. We are doing conspiracy theory. But when they say, when they come to hammer it, that's why we know they will take it. You see, across the globe, the institutions around Africa, they set these institutions so that the people will think it's their leaders' fault. We are now. Sometimes people behave like the leaders are such intelligent people or whatever, because you don't understand the game. That's why you think your leaders are so intelligent. Intelligent for what? They are just doing what they are taught to do. Do you think I'm joking? Even South African President Ramaphosa told the whole world that when issues happen in Libya and they want to intervene, they want to go to Libya to help as African Union, what happened? NATO can order them to stay back. Don't go to Libya. This is a statement by Ramaphosa. And do you think we are joking? Ramaphosa as a president told the whole world that NATO told them, they ordered them, stay away from Libya, because Libya is a business for us. Let me show you something here. This guy here is European, and he's going to tell you something. He's going to affirm what we are telling you. So if you want to vie for any political position across Ghana, Nigeria, whatever, listen to them. Listen to the strategy and compare. Do the comparison analysis. Just compare and contrast where you live in any country and see, is it true that the embassies in that country are there for a purpose? They are not just for that, just a visa. And when you see your elite, the so-called elite educationists in your country, what they defend, what is their interest? Are they interested about Africa? or your country, or they are there to do show off or to do what they are told to do, or they are there to please their masters, the ball is in your court. Now listen carefully. Listen carefully. This man is going to tell you something. It's not me. He's going to tell you something. If you want to listen, pay attention. A word to a wise is enough.
After colonization ended, we needed new structures to keep these countries where they were. Okay? And the first of those is aid. Okay? We give them aid. Aid for what? Actually, we give them aid to keep repressive regimes in power. That's all. Okay? We're not giving them aid for much more, except a little bit of infrastructure to make sure those raw materials get to the ports and aren't gotten out of the ground. But for the most part, we give repressive regimes money and power and guns to keep that system going. This is what it's fundamentally about. All the hypocrisy about transparency and democracy and bullshit like that, it's all bullshit. You know? And at least the
So this guy's interesting. This is for the horse's own mouth. Well, see, he says, all this democracy, transparency, the United Nations, community, everything, but they talk everywhere. Oh, listen to, it's all bullshit. Because it's all an agenda to keep these people where they are. It's an agenda that we let us create institutions for them so that these people, we are able to rule them and we know how they think. So when we bring institutions like the World Bank, IMF, democracy, they will feel comfortable. They think that there's an institution to protect them. But it's only going to protect their leaders. Even in fact, we have another way of even bringing their leaders to our own court, which is called the ICC. Where countries will warn the ICC, they are like countries like America will warn the ICC, hey, don't mess with us. But yet they are there taking the African leaders. When they train them, they messed up, they take them there because it's like the goat, it's like the sheep. When you train the sheep, you take the sheep to the forest or the bush for the sheep to eat, and the sheep messed up, you can hang and tie the sheep neck and chase him and take him back to the cage. So this man is not African. This man is telling you something. He's an economist and he's working with them. They sent him. He knows the deal and he's telling you this, everything that you are seeing, the package thing to show you is a bullshit. And it is not there because of you, your interest. And in America, one quote that I will never forget says, there's no free lunch for anyone in America. There's no free lunch in anywhere in America. And this is where the game starts. So you sit there, follow the concert, follow the jokes, comedy, and come back and complain. Africa, we're there, Africa, we're there, and then we are hungry. You continuously be hungry because you don't pay attention to who is a European, what they can do, change your thinking about European. You don't do that. You are only interested to see the beauty side of Europe. Thank you. Watch this man again.
Don't enter into that bullshit. They say, we don't care about the whole political environment, we just give the money. Okay? And it's for raw material extraction, period. Okay? Number two, and this was a very important one, still is debt. I was telling some of my students today, was it today or yesterday, about Confessions of an Economic Hitman. You remember this? Have any of you heard of this one? Confessions of an Economic Hitman. It's a book written by John Perkins, who used to work for a very nebulous, opaque bank. No one had ever heard of this bank, but it was formed in the 1950s by the IMF, the CIA, and the American State Department. And it had only one job: to lend money to developing countries that were raw material producers in order to indebt them. Once you are in my debt, I control you. Okay? And this bank had 4,000 employees. But no one ever heard of this bank, you see. But it would go to country after country offering loans. And if the president did not accept the loan, they were killed.
Okay.
And he gives...
So, you see, another revelation. According to him, making this revelation, he said, when this man comes to your country and tell you, we are going to give you free loan, and you don't take it, do you understand what I mean? Do you really understand? Those who are watching me, thank you. This is the first time watching me here. I'm here. We are here to reason. We are not here to argue, and we are just giving the fact on the ground. I'm not making this story. He said, and this is a reality, because we are going to do a check. We call it fact check. Check the continent, and you can mention them. What happened to Thomas Sankara? What happened to Kwame Nkrumah School in Ghana? What happened to Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso? What happened to Lumumba in Tanzania? What happened to Nelson Mandela? Stephen Biko? You start mentioning them. You see, everything they are telling us, as of those times, you and I were not there. 1950s, it works for them. Today, the flow of information, the evolution, cannot come with arms and ammunitions. It will be on the tool of the mind where it comes to direct communication. So when we get this information, it works for me, and it might work for you, because when you listen, you know who you are going to deal with. So he is saying, when we bring that loan to you and you don't want to take it, what do you mean? You don't understand? Talk about Libya. What happened to Gaddafi? They say Gaddafi have what? Have weapons, have this, have that. They use the same media that I'm talking, and they use the media to dirty Gaddafi, and the last result was what? And is Gaddafi alive? Answer me. Is he alive? Answer me. And what is the state of Libya now? Answer me. What have got missing in Libya? Answer me. And before they came there, how was Libya look like? Answer me. This is the Reason Show. Drop your comment. We are here to reason. We are learning from them. In fact, listen, we are learning from them. And we chose what to learn. They are not going to tell us what to learn. We chose what to learn from them. So the question is, do you think they are playing with you? Watch him. The man is giving more revelation. Watch him. And we will continue.
Examples of presidents who were killed when they did not accept the loan. You see, the lending is also very important to trap the country. It's very important. It's part of that process. I teach in Suriname. And Suriname in recent times had a huge foreign exchange reserve. So big they didn't need to borrow money. And then one of my students who was very high up in government, he said, you know, the IMF is trying to convince us to borrow money from foreigners. Why? I thought, sorry about this, but, this is the game. And in the end, Suriname did borrow this money because the IMF said, if foreigners lend to you, then everyone will think Suriname is such a strong economy that foreigners are interested in lending to you. You understand? Before Lula came to power, the previous president in Brazil, Cardoso, his predecessor, took a gigantic international loan. No necessity for taking the loan. Why? Because once I catch you with the debt strings, I hold you forever. You are my prisoner.
Thank you. This man is going to tell me something here, but hold it here. So all these debt traps that Africans are interested to take loans and debt, it's not by just a chance. It's a strategy, and we don't even want. We don't need this man even to tell us, but I just wanted to affirm somebody from their own to affirm to you. And you check it. All the countries that are taking loans, what is the result? And the China is using the same strategy. When you own me, I will decide for you. And it started the same way. Aid. The Europeans were the America, they used to aid. And now we are in their aid. So whenever they say do this, you don't want to do, okay, so I'm going to take my aid. The same thing in Niger as we are sitting here. Now this one is going to tell you something so scary and so challenging. Stay here. This is the Reason Show. I want you to share the page, and then you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then we'll continue to learn from each other. Drop your comments, and I'll be back. This is the Reason Show. Let's stay here, and I'll be back. Thank you for watching me. I'll be back. Thank you.